Greetings, YouTube. In the calf that I use every day at work, they have the television on 24/7. Some days the shows are more bearable than others, but between the shows are commercials, and a lot of the time you'll see the diet things or the gadget things, the as seen on TV stuff. And occasionally they'll change the channels up and we'll get actual infomercials that run for hours and hours and hours. And it got me thinking, in a world of magic and alchemical concoctions, we should see that kind of thing in our fantasy settings, particularly our high fantasy settings. Now, one of the things I loved about 3rd edition and P1, for that matter, is the structure of designing and making alchemical concoctions and magic items. It's very well defined. And it's like you pull these things together, you put them together, got the right kind of ingredients, spells, feats and stuff, and boom, you're done. You got a magic item. Exactly what you want. And I like that. But anything that we have here that is of dubious use, hair formulas that may or may not actually help your hair. Formulas that may or may not actually help get your manhood back if you're a little lacking. Things that may or may not take your wrinkles away. Well, in a world of alchemy, that's all very much possible. Those aren't going to be pointless, powerless concoctions. They're going to be real things that have an effect. Well, if they're done right. You're also going to have charlatans out there trying to sell things that are slapdash. You have magic, of course, and there are actually spells I've seen in the game in both first-party and third-party materials, which are designed to kind of fill those as seen on TV gaps, those plastic surgery kind of things, the elective kind of stuff that you might want to see. Want to be a few inches taller? Want to be a little thinner? Want a bit more hair up here? All those things are possible with magic and alchemy. And alchemy is a much lower bar than a lot of spell casting, because you actually don't have to have access to a lot of different spells to do alchemy. Some things do, some things don't. And there is like alchemist classes out there. There's an alchemist skill. So you can have people whose sole job it is to come up with the alchemical formula that adventurers use, of course. But let's face it, adventurers are a narrow market. There aren't a lot of adventurers. What, 1 in 1,000 maybe? Maybe a little higher in a high fantasy, but still, that's no way to actually make a lot of money. You're not going to found your career on just catering to adventurers. But bald people? Men who feel dubious in their manhood? People that want to get rid of wrinkles? Who want to be a little thinner? Want to change that eye color for that big party next week? Dyes that work really well. Dyes that could be changed on the fly. All these things are completely and absolutely accessible with alchemy. And I love that idea. Anything you see on an as seen for TV ad should be possible with low-level magic and with alchemy. Isn't there there's an NPC class, is it called the mage? I can't remember. It was kind of the arcane version of the lower level divine caster, whose name escapes me at the moment. But the idea being that they could cast very low-level things. They're just the same kind of NPC classes of the commoners and the noble and the expert and things like that. And that'd be perfect for your average everyday kind of things. Of course, if you have people actually win the alchemist classes, they can be doing more extraordinary stuff. They can be coming up with mutagens, for example, that could really change someone's life, literally. And it doesn't have to be adventure-oriented. Again, there's a bigger market out there for the cosmetics, for the adventurous. And we haven't even talked about drugs yet. Think of the possibilities for party drugs if you have access to a talented alchemist who is of dubious moral fiber. Things that make you feel good, make you feel fast, make you feel low, let you see things that no one else ever has before. And all of them could be done in both addictive and non-addictive versions. There's no reason you couldn't come up with concoctions that have no chemical, biological addiction, but people still might be addicted to it because they like the experience they've had. It becomes a psychological addiction, which is still a thing, but it's slightly different than the actual chemical addictions, like, say, from heroin. So, what would you do with alchemy? Do you see the vistas of the possibilities opened up to you just by looking at an as-seen for TV shelf at Walmart, or on your television late at night when it's 3 a.m. and you haven't quite figured out why you haven't gone to sleep yet? So let's talk about alchemy, all the ways that we could use it for commercialism, because average citizens are a much bigger market than adventurers.